I'm Cam Jordan, New Orleans Saints defensive end, 2010 All-Decade team, some All-Pros and Pro Bowls, all that other stuff that we ain't here to talk about. But I do have two legends with me. Of course, my co-host, my brother from another, Mark Ingram, the second, father to the third, son of the first. It's a whole legacy type situation happening on. You know, between him and his dad, they've got so many years in this football game. We talking about just like the third coming up, you know he gonna be the truth. We talking about Alabama's first Heisman winner, did one of these and let him be known he's gonna be great. Got to the league and never really looked back. He's been to a couple teams and now he's with Houston. Who? My dog Mark Ingram, aka MVI. Deuce. And then, of course, we are having the pleasure of having probably the baddest fighter I've ever seen into the UFC sport. I mean, we talk about a man who's a master in jiu-jitsu. We talk about a man who I saw demolish, who I thought was one of the coldest fighters to date, in Tyron Woodley back in 2019. And at that moment, I was like, oh, that boy Usman a dog. So, hey, appreciate you coming on, big. What is it? Kamaru Usman.
Ooh. You gave him the whole government. You see how he threw that in there? You gave him the whole government. You know, most people don't know that one.
Ooh. Yeah, look.
Know that.
Levels. Big
levels.
You feel me?
Delivered by Pizza Hut.
Like my dog said, we appreciate it. We honored to have Najai's finest. You know what I mean? The Nigeria's champ, you know what I mean? In the building, you know what I mean? Undisputed champion of the world, not just the city, getting jacked by Santa Claus. No, they need security in the world, Craig. No, top flight, you know what I mean? Undisputed of the world, not just the city.
Appreciate you
my
guys,
brother,
man.
you know what I mean? From another. So we appreciate you coming on with us, man.
Yeah,
fresh
man.
off.
I've been seeing y'all. I've been seeing y'all, been following y'all for a minute, and y'all been doing it. Hey, I bet Mark, I bet Cam don't even remember the first time we actually kicked it.
No, I bet he don't.
Is that the Vegas night?
No.
Is it? Okay.
Miami,
look,
right?
I remember. I remember Vegas night, and then I was like, was it Vegas night?
Was it Miami?
It was before. Before that.
Where was it?
It was before?
Houston.
Houston.
H-Town Super Bowl.
Yeah. H-Town Super Bowl.
The only Houston I remember, me and Mark remember, we don't talk about.
That's a story for that's a story for the bonfire. Me and you only. You know what I'm saying?
It's a story for another time.
Yeah. Nah, that was the first time like we actually linked up and we kicked it that night. And that's when we kind of got acquainted, we got introduced. And obviously then the next year I just kind of loosely followed what you guys did over there at the Saints before Mark went over to the Ravens. So and then we met. Obviously, that next year we met in Vegas.
That's what Francis. We was at dinner, right? Francis was there. We met Francis.
That's what Francis was. Yeah.
And that's when I didn't realize Francis was me with a six pack.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't see it.
I was looking at Francis. I was like, bro, like normally UFC fighters just ain't this big. Bro, I was like, and that's why he looking like he about to whoop somebody ass, because he do. He looks like he about to whoop somebody ass.
What the stat was you was telling me, Kush, about him, how he punched?
Francis is he does have the Guinness World Record right now for the hardest punch. And from the sports science, what they did, they said it's equivalent to a Ford Escort hitting you at like 70 miles an hour or something like that, something crazy like that. And I don't care what it is. You know, it's a car. If a car hits you at 25, 30 miles an hour, that might be a wrap. Now, if it hits you at 70, and especially to your head.
One to the donut,
You done seen him, Roy Eugen, some people. Roy Eugen.
Yeah. But that's the thing with Francis is, you know, like they use the term, I don't know if you guys ever heard it, they use the term baddest man alive when it comes to like the heavyweight champion. And in this case, literally, you could say that for Francis is the baddest man alive. And I know a lot of people might try to put up the debate. You got boxers, Anthony Joshua, and this and that. But no, boxers, you take them down. What's You know?
Right, what they doing on the ground pound.
Yeah.
What they doing on that
can't
mat.
stand up no more. You know what I mean?
Can't stand up no more. Francis is literally the baddest man alive walking. You know, so it's there's no situation.
I'm not going to look. I'm not going to defy you. I'm also going to add you in this convo though. Like what I've seen you put out on this work.
Cam,
you ain't too far
listen,
off.
Cam, listen. Let me clarify this for you.
Different. I be
Cam,
trying to tell
let me clarify this for you. He said the heavyweights usually get the title baddest man alive.
Yeah, he did.
We already established the pound for pound greatest fighter of the world we have on the podcast right now. So don't get it twisted.
No doubt.
He told you the baddest mug alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that goes to like a heavyweight. You know what I mean?
Because you think about it. You put him in any situation, world, any situation.
He gonna slug his way out.
You gonna get out. He gonna get out that room. You know, you put a 350-pound dude in there. You know, they fall on top of me. You know, I might struggle. I'm gonna have to struggle. But him, he getting out. For sure, he getting out. So that's why they give him that title, the baddest man alive, because he'll do something with anybody at any time.
And for those of you who are naive enough not to know who he's talking about the Francis Ngannou heavyweight champ of the world, Najai's second finest. You know what I mean?
Actually, he's Cameroonian.
No, he's
Cameroonian. We brothers. We next door. We neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, that West African connection. You know, we
excuse me, Francis. I love you. Hold it down.
He big Cameroon.
We low key claim him too. Man, hey, we claiming it too.
Let me ask you this, man. Y'all, you know, I know y'all so, proud of, being from the motherland, being from Africa, man. What was it like growing up in Nigeria, man? Where in Nigeria, did you grow up?
I actually, I was born in Auchi, Nigeria, which is a town in Edo State, in the state of Edo, in Benin. So, basically village life. You know, growing up, we lived in the village, and we had chickens, we had ducks, we had goats. A couple of rams, but rams were, if y'all know what rams are literally, they were expensive. Those were kind of like the more exotic. And then a cow, when you got cows, you got money, you bred it up. Those are the elite of the elite. But, we had goats, we had chickens, we had ducks and all of that. And pretty much what we ate, we farmed. It ain't none of these delicacy, you buy McDonald's, you Wendy's, you Uber Eats and everything, pretty much what we had, we grew. Tomatoes, we grew. Yams and all of that, we grew. Corn, we grew. We had seasons for everything. So that's kind of how I grew up. We walked everywhere. I think I saw a car. The first time I saw a car, maybe 3, 4. It's not that there wasn't cars there. There were cars there, but it wasn't like cars going in and out of the village, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I grew up like that. I walked barefoot everywhere. I stepped on a few nails.
That's why you be curve stomping people's feet. That's why. That's why you be curve stomping. He be yank.
Yeah.
Hey, don't let them lean on him a little bit, boy. You know that little quick little two-toe. Yum.
Like, what are you doing? I be like, he's stomping his feet. I know that hurt.
Yeah, but that's kind of how I grew up, and so you learn growing up from that, and then getting to the place where I am now. I'm appreciative of each and everything that I have, because I'm not too far off. I don't forget all of that stuff. I cherish everything I have now, because I know what it's like not to have all that stuff.
Amen. Hey, big blessings, brother. Big blessings. So how old were you? How old were you when you left Nigeria?
We got here, I think I was about 8.5 years old.
Okay.
So we came in, I started school system here in the 4th grade. So 4th grade is about 9 years old.
You moved to Texas?
Yeah, moved to Arlington, Texas, which is, the suburbs kind of in between Dallas and Fort Worth. So it's all in that DFW metroplex.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that term in Dallas.
DFW.
Everybody in Dallas be like, that DFW. Bro, that's such a big area. Like,
yeah, okay. But listen to this. You come down to South Florida, what everybody say, oh, yeah, you live in Miami.
Right.
Yeah, you live down in Miami? Yeah.
True.
But now I live in Boca.
You live all the way
out
in Delray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
So everyone just say, "Oh yeah, Miami." You know that. So that's pretty much what they say. Like, you from Dallas? Yeah, DFW.
Yeah.
So
like
that's what they hear.
like DMV, like you know,
Yeah.
DC, Maryland, Virginia, DMV. Put 3 states in one. Like that's even worse. At least DFW is like cities. Like they put 3 states. Like they're like, yeah, I'm from the DMV. Like which one though? Like.
Yeah. So I grew up. Yeah. So I grew up in Arlington, which is kind of like the suburb. And Arlington now is so big to where the Rangers, we got the Rangers, the baseball team is in Arlington, and the Cowboys just moved the stadium. That big stadium they got, that's in Arlington too. So Arlington ain't little. It's big. So yeah, I grew up there. Started the school system here at 9th grade. Well, not 9th grade, but 9 years old. So that was 4th grade, and went to middle school out there, Barnett Junior High, then went to high school, James Bowie High School, you know, which kind of kicked off the whole evolution of where I am today.
Yeah. I'll say, look, you being out in Texas, I know, like, you're not allowed to live in Texas as a boy, as a man, and not play football. So I know you dabbled, at least from like the stadiums they build for high school are better than most colleges, at least in the D2 ranks, that can par with a couple of D1s up in there.
Yeah, man. No, yeah. I played. I started playing obviously 7th grade. I was nice. 7th grade, I was nice. Everybody was my size. You know, I could hit that sweep, that 28 sweep, that 40. I could get that. You know, and of course, you know, I was a tailback too, because I love to get the ball. I love to be. My thing was I love to be in the action at every play, and so I was a tailback too. So 7th grade, I was good. You know, I could hit that sweep, and I knew I could get around everybody because I was quick. Then 8th grade, everybody kind of grew, and you know, I was still about the same. So I wasn't able to, you know, hit that angle no more. So, you know, first couple of games, I think I was A team, and then I turned into a B team all-star. But that was cool though. I was like,
that's cool. At least he was an all-star though.
But it's the thing is, you go 18, you might not get a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
Go down to the B team. I want to be in the action.
You the legend.
You
the legend.
Yeah,
you know whose time it is.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do the B team all-star and try to do my thing there. So I went B team and it was all right. But I'm like, all right, don't worry. I'm a ball out in high school. So of course you get to 9th grade.
So you say everybody grew. Like what you was looking like in the 9th grade?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what you was looking like in the 9th grade, man?
Why you looking up? Because you ain't short.
I'm still hot. I'm still hot right now about that. I'm still hot. So 9th grade, we get to 9th grade, everybody grew even more. Now, if you know anything about high school football, especially Texas high school football, these dudes look like college football.
Look like grown men. You know, they've been already held back 2 years. 16 and the 9th.
They 17 years old and freshman.
Dudes already with the lineup on the beard and stuff, you know. So we go to high school. I'm 5'2", 103 pounds.
5'2", 103, my dog.
5'2",
103. Yo, I was a player though. But 5'2", 103. I'm like, yo, I can't do this. And but I'm like, all right, maybe I'll still hit the corners, you know, see what I could do. And yeah, everybody looking like college players. I'm struggling. So now, and our school was so big to where we split. We had 4 teams. So we had the orange, you know, A and B team, and we had blue A and B team. And I was on one of the B teams. You know, I just wasn't getting enough snaps because we had other athletes come in. We had dudes that been balling since they were 5, 6 years old. And I've only been playing for 2.5 years. So these dudes, they love the contact, they love the hit, and I'm still keep it G. I was still a little soft, you know. I ain't really like the contact like that. And so
you like the action, but not the contact.
Like the sweep. The action. You see, he keep mentoring the sweep. He don't want that.
Yeah,
I like what the power.
I'll come down the middle. You feel me? I'll come down at 3. You know, but the thing about it is, I like the contact when I'm creating it.
Right.
You know, if I'm coming downhill and I create the contact, I'm good with it.
Right.
But if the contact is unnecessary and unwanted, I ain't messing with it. so it was I was okay. I was getting a lot of snaps all through the season, and I remember we had 2 games left, and our assistant football coach was the assistant wrestling coach. And in Texas, they had to coach 2 sports, and so he kept getting at me, come try wrestling. When the season's done, come try wrestling. I ain't never heard of wrestling before. The only wrestling is I watched Stone Cold Steve Austin do his thing.
Stone Cold Stunner.
So I'm like, he said, come try wrestling. I was like, nah, man, I ain't trying to get hit with no chairs. Nah, coach, I ain't with that, And he was like, nah, just come in and try it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So one of the days I looked in the room, in the wrestling room. They had a big gym in there. And it was like 60 dudes in there with shorts, T-shirts, out there sweating, like grabbing each other, slamming each other. I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to be that grabbing no dude, man. Come on, coach. So I'm like, nah, I ain't with that. So I go to practice this day. And I'm just, we got a couple games left, 2 games, and I haven't been getting a lot of snaps. So we had practice. And they put me in there. Like, all right, come on, we're going to run this play. It was a 43 killer. I'm coming downhill. I'm like, all right. Gave it to
killer.
Me. I gave it to me. I hit the counter. Boom. Right up the middle. Boom. Hit that hole. I'm like, I'm out. 25, 30 yards. I'm like, all right. I got this. This.
Yeah.
So they switched the play and they were like, all right, I forgot the other play they ran, but I'm like,
you remember that 43 killer though?
Yeah, I remember that because I got about 30 some yards on that one. I'm like, yeah, I'm killing. So I'm like, I'm killing them. I'm killing them with the cutback. I'm gonna kill them with it. So they called another play, and we go on the opposite way. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hit him with the cutback again. I'm gonna get him. I'm getting him.
He predetermined it.
So I'm like, I'm hitting them with the comeback. They can't stop me coming through the middle. They can't stop me. I'm like, boom. All right. Hit him with it. I'm running the play. I'm like, nah, don't want to play. Hit him with the cutback. I ain't even thinking about the vision and looking what's going on. I'm like, all right, boom, cutback. Ooh, I'm coming through the middle. Oh, I see daylight. I'm like, oh, I got it. And the mic back swung over. I ain't even see him. His name Big Donald. I ain't even see him. I'm cutting. All of a sudden, I get smacked. Bah! I don't even remember what happened. I think my helmet might have loosened up a little bit. Bah! I get smacked. All I remember is I'm looking up. I'm screaming every cuss word I can. And I'm ninth grade. I'm like, fuck, no. I'm screaming. I'm like, yo, I think I broke my back. I don't even know where my spleen at, but I'm like, my spleen, something wrong. I'm looking at, and then the coach coming over. They like, hey, relax, calm down. I can't move my leg. I can't move my leg.
No.
My neck and my back. I can't feel my legs.
I can't feel my
Everything hurt. And they had to come help me off the field. And I remember I was just like, and mind you, mentally, where I was mentally, all seasons, you trying to catch those, those little swing passes, and I be jamming my fingers when the quarterback be yamming them, boom, jamming my fingers, catching, run through the drills with the things that come through. You got to run through the gauntlet, running through them.
Still hate the gauntlet to this day.
All them is annoying me. Been annoying me all season. All the little injuries, little things here and there. Like I said, I was still a little soft. Don't judge me. Don't judge me,
man. That's true.
You were the man.
Yeah,
you were.
I wasn't there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you still only 5'2", 103.
5'2", 103, soaking wet. So I'm sitting and I'm looking up, and the whole time I'm thinking, man, this ain't it.
You had your expectations, and they wasn't living up to the reality. So you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go be great.
And that's the thing
about me. I don't
me.
appreciate my greatness. I'm gonna go be great somewhere else.
That's the thing about me is I'm a realist. I'm real with myself, and that's very important in anything that I've done. And so basically, I was just like, it's time to find something else. to try out. So I tried everything that year. I tried out for baseball. I could feel everything was straight. But when it came to batting, different story, And so I tried it all until the coach kind of, kept making fun of me and poking at me like, yo, why don't you come try wrestling? You scared. You know me, I'm football. Football. Nah, we ain't scared. We ain't shook. Right. Nah.
Yeah.
What coach you talking about? You ain't scared. Come try it. All right. I'm going to be in there today. Because he tried to punk me in the middle of study hall. He tried to punk me with everybody who was in there. I'm like, all right, I'm in there today. What? Pick your best wrestlers. I'm coming in. I'm smashing you. I went in there, they had the short. I went in, I thought, I'm just going to show up, talk a little bit of trash and walk out. They weren't ready for me. Bro, I walked in, he had shorts, he had shirt, t-shirt, and he had shoes ready for me. Wrestling shoes. I'm like, what had happened was I had just came in to say what's up to y'all, before I had to walk home, but he's like, nah, we got you. We ready right here. And they had everything ready for me. It was a practice to change my life forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. So that started in the 9th or the 10th you started wrestling?
That was the first time I went into the room was the 9th, but I didn't compete until my sophomore year was the first time I actually started competing in wrestling. So
when did you realize like you was that dude though? Like at what point did you realize like these boys can't fool with me? Because you was I'm sure you ain't lose many wrestling matches. Like what your record was in high school? Like what?
No, sophomore year was up and down because I was floating between B team and then the starter and the backup. I was floating between both. So basically JV and varsity. So a couple of meets I would go to the varsity and I would do I'd be like 3-2. I would win 3 and lose 2 and I wouldn't place. Then I will go to the JV tournament. I'll smash everybody. So I was kind of floating back and forth like that. And top 2 get out of districts, top 4 get out of regionals and go to state. And so I had the number 1 and number 2 in the state in my district. And so if they weren't in my district, there wasn't any other district in the state of Texas, I would have placed that year. I would have been all-stater. But they were in my district, which actually I think was the best for me. Yeah. Because it let me know what level I needed to be on, just to even to be great at what I was doing.
To make it to states and to make it to that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to be the best, you got to beat the best off rip. Boy, absolutely. You got to ain't to see you at state.
And to answer your question, Mark, it was the summer after my junior season is when I realized I want to be good at this.
Going into your senior year.
Yeah.
So I'll say, but by then you was no longer 5'2", 103. Like senior year, you was.
So that dude. Yes. So that was another thing is because I prematurely judged myself. I didn't realize I was going to be a late bloomer. As far when you're in high school, kids mentally they go through this certain developmental stage to where you don't realize. At the time, I didn't realize I was going to grow. So I kept telling myself, man, I'm small. I ain't going to grow this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I was feeling bad, really down. I was kind of battling with that self-image. And after that freshman year, after I had walked away from football, came back sophomore year, sprung up 5'6", 119 pounds. I'm like, oh.
Sprung up.
Ooh, little cuts in the arms. And then after the sophomore year, I was about 5'8", 130 pounds. Ooh,
okay. Yeah.
Got a little egg in the arm.
I'm a man.
Got a little egg in there. Woo. And then coming back senior year, I was about 5'10", 152 pounds. It's like, yeah,
I could work with this.
Now. Yeah, I'm in the mirror now, I'm in the mirror now. I'm flexing up.
You're trying to pop his chest and stuff. Pop.
No, you know what I mean? I'm in there. I'm moving it. I'm using my arm though. I'm using my hand though. But I'm in there.
I say, Mark, he got this pose with the push up on the bicep, but it's still sort of him though. Yeah.
Big facts. You got to.
That's what's up.
Gotta know I'm big man, no little man.
Big man, no little man.
No. Yeah. And then you went crazy your senior year. I know you went crazy your senior year.
Yeah, my senior year, when we came back, and it was important in order to push me to that point. I had a dude on my team, a buddy on my team, one of my best friends growing up. We went to middle school together and then high school, and he got into wrestling first, and I kind of followed him into it. Then junior year, he ended up being state runner-up. He was on varsity. And so watching him, I wouldn't say I was jealous, but I was envious. I wanted to be where he was at.
Motivated you.
So he motivated me big time. So I had to raise my level. So like I said, that summer I went to camps. I went to the national tournament and we went together. And I knew what level he was at, and I knew where I wanted to be. And this was kind of like the big start of my work outside in order to catch up and surpass everybody in the game. And we went to this camp together, and I'll never forget the camp. And we were at the camp, and we were at University of North Texas. And that was where we did camp for about, I want to say 7 to 10 days before we went to the nationals, junior nationals. And it was just something. I used to watch videos of some of the best, some of the guys, the wrestlers that I looked up to, some of the black wrestlers that had done it, world champions and Olympic champions. And they would do stuff outside. They would run. I never thought, at that point, go for a run. That helps your legs. That helps your conditioning. That helps you in different ways. I never thought about that. So I started watching videos. I'm like, all right, let's do that. So in the morning, we wake up and I would ask him, because me and him were roommates. I'll say, hey, yo, let's go for a run. And a couple of times he went with me, but then some mornings he would be like, nah, I'm okay. I don't want to go. But I still went away. He's like, and I would go for that run. And then we would be practicing a couple of practice, and I was kind of going through the motion. And I'm in there. I'm plugged in all the way. I'm trying to learn everything. So at that point, we was here, but then I started to separate a little bit. I started to just feel the separation. And then when we went to nationals, same thing. We went to nationals. I was about one match away from being an All-American. Now I'm my whole psyche, I'm this little kid from the streets of Auchi, Nigeria, to where I got to now. I'm in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota. I'm competing and wrestling, and I'm wrestling dudes from Oregon, dudes from Connecticut, dudes from other places I ain't never seen, never been to. And now you come to do some research on these kids. This kid was a 3-time state champion from Connecticut. I just mollywopped him. And then it's another kid, he's a 4-time state champion from Alaska. I just dropped him on his head. Now I'm thinking, I was one match away from being an All-American. I'm going back to Texas for my senior year. I'm thinking, ain't nobody messing with me in Texas. Nobody. I just beat a 3-timer from Connecticut, 4-timer from Alaska. Ain't nobody finna mess with me in Texas. At that point is where I deep down inside, I'm like, yo.
Can't do nothing with me.
They can't do nothing with me now.
So was you starting to get scholarship offers at this point, or what? Like you had schools looking at you, or?
Yeah, so that was the thing. My assistant wrestling coach, his dad was the head coach at Appalachian State University. And so that I was like, oh, I'm a shoo-in. That's D1. I'm a shoo-in. I'm going there. I ain't even finna fool with nothing else. You got to do some big work in order for you to get to that D1, to get to the clearinghouse, to get through all that. Because in high school, I never really thought I was going to wrestle. I never thought I was going to college for wrestling. So, of course, I was passing everything. But, it's more than just passing.
Yeah.
Now you got to have the test scores and everything like that in order to be able to qualify. And so
SATs is real. Texas is more SAT scores.
ACT and SAT.
Both?
Oh, it was both?
Both.
Yeah.
I had to take both. Basically trying to study for both. I really didn't. I just said, you know what, I'm going to go take it based on the knowledge that I feel like I had already acquired in school.
Right.
And I was 1 point. I think it was like maybe a 24, and I think I had like a 23 on the ACT.
That's good though. That's solid. I got an 18 and I never did it again. I got an 18. They said that's all I needed to get through the clearinghouse, and I was straight. Yeah. I never took it again. I'm like,
I remember, I don't know what exactly my score was, but I know I was like 1 point from getting through. And so basically I was a non-qualifier, something like that. So it was like, yeah, of course you could get into a Division I school, but in order to get through the clearinghouse, you're non-qualified.
Right.
And so you had to at least, like a lot of kids went to JUCO, or you had to at least do a year in a different institution, a 4-year institution in order to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So the only other offer that I got was some small school in Iowa.
That's a wrestling state, though.
Yeah,
Iowa, Idaho.
Them boys be wrestling.
Arizona State.
Yeah.
But them two, like the middle of the nation type states, they wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, what you been doing since you was 5? Wrestling.
Yeah. So I chose there. So I chose there. I went there for 2 years, and then I transferred out, went to Nebraska, and the sky was the limit after that.
Yeah.
Just took off.
No, so yeah, you humble, man. We said we got you a 3-time NCAA D2 All-American, 2008 national title at 174, 2008 helped the school win the first ever overall team title.
Oh, first. All these firsts here.
That boy changing cultures. That boy changing cultures.
Yeah.
It was a good time, man. I think I was the first African American to win a national title for my school. And at that time, I didn't think of the significance of it. I was just doing me, just out there trying to be great. And after that, it was a floodgates open. We had my little homie, also from Texas, Rafian Stutz, came through, won 2 titles, and we had a couple of African Americans come through and win national titles for that school. But I like to think I kind of opened their eyes.
Trendsetter.
To let them know that you go here, school here.
Started off, you started with me.
Change the culture. So you go to Nebraska. Tell us about that. So you go to D2, you dominate there, prove yourself. You get a D1 at Nebraska. I know they wrestle in Nebraska. I know they wrestle in Nebraska. You know what I mean? So what that was like?
Yeah.
What the college like?
So I went to in Nebraska. It was 3 schools, 3 major schools. That's UNK, UNO, and UNL, all in the mother system. So it's University of Nebraska Lincoln, which is Big Red Cornhusker, University of Nebraska Omaha, which are the Mavericks, which is also a humongous school. I think about 40,000 student body, something like that, give and take. And then you have UNK, which is the same thing, University of Nebraska Kearney, but it's a smaller school. We were D2, so it was I would say maybe about 20. And I liked it, man. I liked it. Coming from Iowa is different. It's like coming from Texas, swinging all the way to the other end of Iowa, different change of pace. I was swinging a little bit over to Nebraska. So it was good. Everybody was friendly. They showed me love in the town. And it was just, I think it was the program, man. I had set big goals for myself for what I wanted to do. And it was the perfect place for me as far as, not a lot of distraction. And me to just really focus, know how to set goals and go out there and try to achieve them.
So was the goal always to chase a professional wrestling career, or like where was your mindset coming into how'd you transition from college to just pursuing that career in wrestling or martial arts? Right.
I'll say I really want to know is when did your love for wrestling transition into your background in martial arts, which then took us to.
Yeah, no, I was just, I'm a competitor. Like, people don't understand when it's about sports or something that I'm doing, I'm a competitor. And it started in high school. I wanted to be a state champion so bad, so bad, especially after I went to that camp and I came back. I said, can nobody beat me in the state? So I did everything. I was running. I was doing extra. I'd be in the room, wasting all the hot water in my house, creating a sauna in the bathroom. And all of this things that I did in my mind mentally, I was just pushing myself each to be a state champion. And then I went to states, and unfortunately, I didn't. I ended up getting 3rd. I got beat in the semi. And that burned me so bad on the inside, it fueled me. So I didn't really want to wrestle. I didn't really think about wrestling in college. But after I didn't win state title, I was like, nah, I'm going to college. I'm going to be a national champion. I'm going to stand at the top of that podium. And so I went to college, and right away when I got to college, and I'll never forget this, my freshman year I was in that school in Iowa. It was a small school, at NAIA, but it was one of the best NAIAs. They had crazy athletes, all from across the country. North Carolina, dudes from Georgia, dudes from all over the country, Florida. Great athletes. But as far as dedication and heart and grind, none of that, they ain't really have it. And so, yeah, so I went there, and I remember the first week we had to do goals. The coach had us write goals down, what we wanted to do, and how we wanted the season to go. And a lot of dudes on the team, I want to be varsity. Yeah, a lot of dudes on the team, I want to win 10 matches. A lot of the dudes, I want to qualify and this and that. I'm thinking, I wrote mine down. I ain't even, because you don't see what everybody write down. Except when you get up, you have to get up in front of the team and tell them what your goals are. And everyone's saying all these goals. And in my head, I'm thinking, that's it. And it came to me, and I'm a freshman. I just got there. It was 2 different practices. I didn't really know. It was a freshman practice, and then there's the varsity practice, the actual practice. So I got up and I was saying my goals. I was like, I'm going to be a national champion. And I remember I was, you stand in front of them and you could see everyone sitting down in the desks, and I could see some of the dudes
snickering.
Yeah.
If they don't laugh at your goals, they're not big enough.
Yeah, these dudes, like, I see them. I'm watching them. Some of the dudes, they talking to their boy. What you think? Who this dude? And I just remember, I'm like, do y'all not realize? They ain't know what the fire I had burning inside me. I just seen them do that. So I'm like, okay, all right. And then season start. But before the season had started, I knew when the first day season was going to start. But the whole time, a couple months, I've been running. I've been running hills. I've been running. I've been doing all kinds of drills. I've been lifting all through. Season start, first practice. I'm killing the varsity guys. It was, I think, maybe the second week, the coach moved me from the freshman practice to the varsity practice. I'm in the varsity practice, taking down 2-3-time All-Americans. I'm in there doing them. And something inside me was like, this ain't big enough. This ain't big enough. Yeah, this ain't big enough. I'm a freshman. I know I got a long ways to go. I don't know enough yet. But I'm in here doing this to them. Nah, I need more. And after the next season, I decided I was going to transfer, go to a Division II school that were already national runner-ups. They had a bunch of talented guys. I get to wrestle every D1 tournament. The only thing they can't promise me is the Division I NCAA tournament. But everything else I can go to. So I get to see all those guys. So I transferred. I said, that's where I wanted to be. I want to show them I'm the best. And I transferred. While I'm in Nebraska, I set that goal. I was like, I'm going to be the national champion. I'm going to be. And it started right then and there. The first year I was ranked number 1 going into the national tournament. And that was my sophomore year season. Ranked number 1. I ended up tearing my knee halfway through the season. And he's like, you could take a medical and you could come back the next year. I was like, nah, have the surgery now. I'm coming back before the season over. And I ended up doing it. And I came back. Yes, of course, my whole style was different, but I was still ranked number 1 going to nationals. And I ended up getting 3rd that season. Now, while I was there, one of my teammates, he had a twin brother. They fought. They did MMA during the off season. And so that was the first time I actually kind of really seen them. But crazy backstory, my freshman season, and actually go back, senior year in high school, there's this tournament called Senior Nationals. And that's the best seniors from all across the country that place at their state tournaments with state champions from each and every state. They get to go to one tournament called Senior Nationals and to get to show the colleges, what you can do. And while I was at that tournament, I ran into, we had this hotel in Cleveland, and there was these other 2 black dudes at the hotel, tall, big. One was a heavyweight. And I seen them, I'm like, it's a busy week in Cleveland because of this tournament. So I'm like, yo, what y'all do? Y'all wrestle? And they was like, yeah, we wrestle. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, it's other brothers, brothers that wrestle too. I'm like, what's y'all name? It was John Jones and Arthur Jones.
Okay.
and big Arthur. So I ain't really realized I ain't know him like that, but I talked to him, get to know him a little bit, and then the tournament started. And then I realized, they was the truth. Arthur, I think, was an All-American that year, that tournament. Arthur was a two-sport athlete. Of course, he played football and he was a wrestler. He ended up going to Syracuse, ended up obviously Super Bowl champion.
Yep, NFL.
Yeah. And John Jones, me and him just stayed close. He was like, yeah, I'm going to go wrestle in college. And so we just stayed in touch. And he went to a small school in Iowa too. So me and him kind of kept in touch. So during my fall break, that freshman year in Iowa, I went over to see him. And while I was there visiting him, it was like a dude, a friend of like the wrestling team, invited us to come to his house and watch some fights. I was like, all right, cool. So me and John Jones went to this dude's house to watch fights. And that was the first time I ever seen UFC on TV. It was with John Jones at some house party.
And what was that? Was that like back in the Tito Ortiz days?
It was Chuck Liddell fighting somebody.
Chuck Liddell.
It was a big fight, yeah. And so fast forward now, a few years later, one of my teammates, Joe Ellenberger, he actually was fighting. So during the summer, I actually got to watch him fight. I'm like, yo, they do this real stuff. This is for real. I ain't gonna lie. I was still scared of it. I was shook. I ain't doing that. Nah, right. They kicking each other in the head.
They got these boys in a cage.
Yeah, they in a cage. They kicking each other. They elbowing each other. I'm good. I'm gonna stay with wrestling where it's controlled still. And so So that's why I stayed with wrestling and I kept doing that. And then after college, my senior year, I ended up becoming the national champion in 2010.
Yes, sir.
And then I got an invitation to be a resident athlete at the Olympic Training Center to train for the 2012 Olympics. And I said, all right, I'm with it. I'm going to do that. So then I went over to Colorado Springs. I was living there training for the Olympics. Now, while I was there, I kind of got exposed more and more into MMA. I got an invite one day to come up and to Denver, which is about an hour and some change away from Colorado Springs, and train with my butt King Mo, who was a fighter at the time. King Mo was a wrestler a few years before that. So I'm like, all right, I go to Denver. We coming in, we in the locker room, we changing, we getting ready to train with King Mo. We waiting for him to show up. So I'm in the locker room, I'm putting my shoes on, and I look back. Two dudes walk in the door in the locker room. I look back. It's King Mo, and it's Rashad Evans. I'm like, oh.
Rashad Evans.
It's Rashad Evans. Oh, shit. So, you got to play it cool. You can't, you can't be a fan or nothing. Right. So I'm like.
Can't be fanboying too hard.
Can't be fanboying. But I'm in my head. I'm
respect.
Rashad Evans.
You playing the cool, but in your body, you like.
Yeah. But in my body, I'm like, how you doing, Mr. Evans?
Can I have a picture with you? Sign the glove
for me? Yo. I've been there. And at this point, he was the biggest superstar in the game.
Yep.
I mean, my man just fought, I think, a Rampage Jackson at the time. They just did the Ultimate Fighter.
Rampage.
So he's the biggest superstar in the game. So I see him, boom, they walk in. So we get out there and we work out. I train with him. And then we sit and we talk for like 30 minutes. And I couldn't believe how cool he was, man, because this was one of the biggest superstars in the world. And he was so down to earth. He was so cool. Gave me the game. Talked to me. He was like, yo, you could do this, bro. You could do this sport. Mm-hmm. I'm still shook. I'm like, yeah, all right.
I hear you. I hear you. But I'm a national champion in wrestling.
And I'm not getting in that cage. The cage is throwing me off. Like,
yeah. I ain't want to say it.
Go in and one man come out.
Like, y'all in the cage. Like, there's only really one way out of there.
Yo, so I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. But and then he gave me his number. And for people who don't understand how powerful certain things are and the way that now I know because I'm in that role, how powerful certain things like you guys, y'all meet up and coming football player or whatever, or kid in high school or college, and they look up to us big time. Now we talk, we have a conversation. I'm leaving. He's like, yo, here's my number. Take my number. And he gives me his number. I'm like, this is one of the biggest superstars in the world. And I'm driving home with the dudes I came with, and I'm just looking at the number in my phone. I'm like, yo.
Like, this me. Yeah, check me out. Hey, buddy said I got potential.
Yeah, I got his number in my phone. I could text him right now. You know, I'm like,
the boys in the car like, shut up, man. That's a dude's number.
I'm hype. Okay, I'm like, yo, it's Rashad Evans.
Right. You don't know this dude. No.
Big fact. So months and months start to go by, and he would text me. He hit me up because, of course, I ain't want to fanboy him. He hit me up, yo, hey, what you doing? How you doing? How things going? I'm like, cool. We talk a little bit. And then he hit me at one time and said, hey, I got this fight coming, fighting this wrestler, Phil Davis. I'd like to bring you to Florida with me for about a week or two. Help me train. I'm like, bet. You gonna fly me out? Bro, I got you. I'm gonna fly you out. You gonna stay with me and everything. I'm like, all right, cool. And that was one of the first times I'm like, okay. I went out there. I tried it. It was still scary to me, but at that point, I started to slowly pull myself into that other world.
Man, that's a blessing, man.
It's different. It's different training, huh? That means you was like the sparring part. Like, so you had to start taking some strikes. You went from big grapple to yum. Wait, hold on. Reset.
Rashad was that striker. Now he had that stand-up game.
That's what I'm saying. Rashad used to have hands.
Yeah. No, it was, of course, I was wrestling. So wrestling days, there's different practices, different days. So wrestling days, I'm hyped. I'm coming in. I don't care who it is.
I'm going to make y'all pay for these past 2 weeks.
Yeah. You a 25-pounder to a heavyweight. I don't care. I'm going to take you down. You ain't getting up unless I let you up. So I'm hyped. Wrestling day, it's easy for me. I'm about to do my thing. And then, I thought I just came in for wrestling. That's all I came for. I ain't
Who you flew in for the striking bit?
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to spar.
Now we doing jujitsu. So, I'm trying to get out of some stuff like this. Like,
yo, so it was sparring day. So it was stand up kickboxing. I ain't never done that before. I knew I had a nice little jab, because, dude mess with you. You jab him up, move around.
Yeah, back up. Yeah.
And so it was this little dude in there. He was kind of little to me because I was bigger. I was about 190. He was about like 170, 160. And he felt kind of soft. Brazilian.
So you
dude.
big now, huh? You big now. Yeah.
So 190. I'm big. I'm full grown now. I'm big man, no little man,
Yeah.
So I'm in that. I tossed dude up wrestling day, and he was kind of crying about a certain thing, kind of sore. I'm like, that's the weak link. That's the dude. That's the rest round. So kickboxing day, I'm like, yeah, I want him. And he didn't object. He didn't object because the wrestling day he didn't want to go with me. He was trying to avoid me.
He thought about that the whole night. He's like, I'm getting him back on sparring day.
I didn't know who he was, though. I didn't know who he was. I'm thinking, that's he's soft. Yeah, I want him. So we get to going. So he said, yeah, right away. He said, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know you was gonna say yeah that quick. But after what I did to you yesterday, you should be worried. You should be afraid of me right now. So we get to moving. And he moving good. So I'm like, he selling wolf tickets. He know what I did to him yesterday. He know what's up. Wow, he kicked me. Boom. That was kind of light. Try to get to him. He kicked me again. Bop, bop. I'm like, that's kind of light too, Bop, 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 bop. Put a 3-piece on me. Wow. Kick. Boom. I can't even touch him. I'm trying to grab him. I can't find him. Bop, bop, bop. Like, yo, hey. So it was 5 minutes.
He said, I can't find him. Hey,
it was 5 minutes of him whooping my ass, but he didn't even go hard. He went light. He didn't even go hard. He beat my ass for 5 minutes.
He was just touching you.
That was just that round. Just touching me. So after I got done with him, I didn't want to go with him no more because I knew he had levels. He was going to turn up more. So I was like, nah, I'm not. I'm good. I'm going to go with other dudes. So I'm going to go with Rashad because Rashad know he brought me out to help him. He ain't going to go crazy on me. So I finished the practice. So I started asking everybody like, yo, who that?
Buddy.
Who's the dude? They like, that's Cosmo Alexandra, 4-time Muay Thai world champion, King's Cup champion. I'm like, what? they like, yeah, that who that was. That he went light. He don't really go hard when he spar. I was like, oh,
that's light.
Okay. That was light. I started watching videos, and y'all probably know who this dude is if y'all seen it. It's a viral video of him. And he one of the dudes that swept the dude's legs and kneed him at the same time. Crazy. Like, that's when I figured out it's some killers in this sport. So yeah, watch what you do and watch what you say.
He said he swept his legs and kneed him at the same time. How is that even possible?
It's one of the craziest. He swept his leg from the inside, like just swept him like a broom, knocked him off balance at the same time.
Caught him with the other knee.
Ooh, killed him. Yo,
sleepy time they come.
What do you anticipate for this fight, Mr. T? Pain. No, that's funny.
But yeah, that was one of the first times I really sparred. I felt it. But I didn't shy away from it. I was like, okay, I could do that. Yeah. I could get back to that.
Yeah, man. Hey, I love that story, bro. Because I know Rashad for a few years, and like he's always just been a good dude. I've always followed his UFC career, but the fact that he just invested in you and poured into you, and look what you have become because of that investment. Not all the way, but just that introduction, that connection, that resource. You're the champ of the world now. Like, best ever to do it. One of the best ever to do it. Arguably, you can't bring up the best champions ever without mentioning Kamaru Usman. And the fact that Rashad kind of just poured into you, invested in you, I admire him even more for that. So, I mean, that's huge respect, bro. That's huge respect.
I admire him big time. And one thing that he used to always say to me is just like, like little things would break around the house, little things would go on. And I'm thinking, man, if I was in this position, I'd be tight, man. Because I know a lot of this costs money. I'm staying with the man. I ain't got no bread or nothing, but he looking out for me. Mm-hmm. But he like, nah, man, things break. Things break, things happen, And then it's like, he would always bring like random, like different people come to the house, like to come stay and train with him. And I would always be like, like, man, why you bring all these different people over here to train, man? Like, you don't even know them like that. You don't need
this my space. No.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't even know them like that. But he was always like, man, you got to pay it forward. Mm-hmm. You got to pay it forward. If 100%. You can help somebody, you pay it forward. If I can help you, I'm gonna do it. Then when it's your turn, you got to pay it forward. And that's one thing that always stuck with me even to this day. Like, a lot of kids, a lot of young guys, they ask me for advice. They ask me for certain things. And wherever I can help, I make sure that I take the time to pay it forward.
Hell yeah, that's that positivity begets positivity. Man, that mindset only gonna make us better as a community, as a people.
I mean, it's just full respect. I mean, that's what you do, Cam. You know what I mean? You teach them youngins how to really go ahead and bend that corner on one, club one. You know what I mean?
Man, you know what I'm saying? Then they go get paid and they leave me. And I have to watch. I'm like, damn, that was my dog. Hey. Now he over there balling on the other side.
That's my boy. I'm proud of him.
Like, hey, I'm gonna be here till you get paid. And then my boy got paid, and I said, damn, I'm still gonna be here.
Yeah. He used to be your homie. Now he act like he don't know you.
We're big drip out here. We come through, but you come to a fight, boy. You suited head to toe, like you coming in down.
And he dancing on him too.
That's what I'm saying. Like with some light shakes. You know what I mean? I need to know, when did that start? Like, the last since at least 2018, since I knew you was a dog like that. You started fighting in 2015?
Hey, man.
Like, when did you start coming to that thing proper, right? You always been like that?
Now, I always would, my thing is, I always wanted to dress for success. Like, I'm a feel good, I'm a look good, feel good, fight good type of person. Mm-hmm. And, early on in my career, you ain't really had a bankroll to be able to look the best, look the way you wanted to. But once I got to that point to where I could invest in looking a certain way that I wanted to, it was just something I had to do it, because this is not just, I just show up and fight, This is a sport. And at the end of the day, I'm an entertainer. I have to be able to show up, let them know that I'm dressed for business. I'm going to take care of business. And I'm going to go look good, look fly afterwards.
Yeah.
So once I got the bankroll right, I was able to be able to dress the way that I wanted to dress coming into those competitions.
Yeah. Skrilla, heavy.
Stop playing. I was saying, boy, coming in with three-piece Danny. Like, I'm coming here to whoop your ass.
Facts. And the question, like, with me dancing, it's one of those things, like, people don't understand how stressful our sport is because we make it look easy. You know, we go out there, we compete, and everyone's like, some people be on, and I'll be doing it too myself. I'll be on TV watching, I'm like, I could do that. But then I'm like, yo, you tripping. You forgetting what these dudes really go through, you know? But it's a certain level of stress that we go through in that sport. And for me, while I'm going through it, while I'm doing my thing, me dancing and music is something that I love so much. So when a song comes on, it takes me away from all of the tension and the anxiety. Once I'm dancing, once I'm feeling, I'm fully engulfed in the music.
Y'all don't know, man. My dog on the intros, he be coming out that thing. Turn it out. It be really out there
jigging.
You know what I mean? Be really ripping though. My dog be having, you know, the African music with the bongos going. I had to Shazam that track. You know what I mean? I was like, I had to listen to it in the whip one time. I'm like, every time I hear it now, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the champ walkout music right there. You know what I mean? Man, he legit with it. So you told us about the journey, bro, but I'm trying to see like when. So you went with Shad, start training.
Yeah.
You know, you was fighting, you was wrestling. So when did your first MMA fight opportunity become about? Like, and how is that, like, you know, working up through the ranks to become like, to get a chance with the UFC or getting a chance to be, I know it's a struggle, you know what I mean? Trying to, you know, progress and make your way up through the MMA ranks. So I just want to know like when your first opportunity was to fight, and like, you know, what the experience is like and what you had to go through to, you know, build your way up through the ranks to get a UFC shot, to get a top 10 contender, to get a top 5 contender, and to get a title shot, man. I just want to hear about the journey. You told us so much. I just want to know about those.
It was in 2011 while I was living at the Olympic Training Center. I got an opportunity through a friend of mine, Dr. Ryan Parsons, to be one of the coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, which is the reality show for the UFC. And so I got to go out there and I was one of the assistant coaches. I was like coaching wrestling for the guys that were on the show. And the guys that were on the show was the 135 pounder and the 145 pounder, because the UFC just pulled those weight classes in. And so while I was doing that, I got a chance to actually see how these guys train, got a chance to actually see how these UFC caliber athletes, what they go through. And I got a chance to see what that reality show was all about. Mm-hmm. And after that, I was like, I ain't gonna do this, bro.
Right.
This ain't for me. This ain't for me, bro.
A lot of fluff in the buff, huh?
Yeah, and just seeing how hard and it was the first time I actually got to witness these guys like fight. And when these guys would fight on the show, we fought in the studio with nobody else around but them. And it was crazy to me because when these dudes would kick each other, you could hear it. You could hear the kicks, you could hear the punches, you could hear all these things. And it I don't want to say I was scared, but it was like, I don't think you really want to do that, bro. You know.
Well, so you ain't never hopped in that cage before, and all you see is that warfare.
Yeah, so I got to train with them in the cage, like help them out, wrestling and everything, but I wasn't locked in there to compete. But I watched them and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So I left, and then in 2012, which was during the Olympic trials and you know, preparing for the Olympics, I got hurt a couple of times. I tore my knee again. I had to have surgery and something like that. And all this was kind of hurting my heart. It was pulling me away from the sport of wrestling a little bit. And then also a big part was the salaries. You know, if you're a national team, you're getting $1,000 a month. And that's it. So $1,000 a month, I'm a national team. I'm the best for the Olympics. I'm for the Olympic ladder. I'm the best in the country, one of the best in the world. And you give me $1,000 a month and I'm a grown ass man out of college. I'm like, and then you work hard, you train in wrestling twice a day, every day. And then you go overseas to one of these big tournaments, which is hard as hell with all these Russians. If you win that tournament, they might give you $2,000, $3,000. And then I would help these other fighters, and these fighters would go out there and get a crazy knockout in 15 minutes. And these dudes would get $75,000 bonus on top of they pay. I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong sport, bro. And it was just that right there kind of started to fuel me. And so I was like, you know what? I might give this a shot. And so my motivation and my love for wrestling was starting to kind of die out. And MMA started to intrigue me more and more. Like, yo, I got a family. I want to be able to retire my mom and dad one day. I got to do something. And it was like the trials, right before the trials, my love for it wasn't there anymore. And you can't do that in wrestling because there's a very slim margin between the best in the world and the guy that got 16th place. And
if you don't love it, it's going to show.
Yeah, it's going to show. And it went to the qualifier, and I got beat by a guy that I beat several times. Like, couldn't touch me. I let him come back and beat me. And I think right there just let me know it's time to move on to a different sport. And so I think it was like June 2012. I didn't make the qualifier. And then I was just like, that's it for me. I talked to my dad, packed up my stuff, and I moved. I talked to Rashad. Rashad kept the whole time, yo, come down to Florida. Come live with me, man. Come live with me. You could do this. I said, that's it. I'm doing that. I had a couple offers to go to different places and train, but I said, nah, I want to slum it out and go out there to Rashad, and we're one of the best to do it. And I'm going to learn from him. And I came down to Florida, and then I started training, and I had my first fight November of 2012. First fight, which happened to be in the same hometown where I went to school in Nebraska. So I felt kind of comfortable. And I went in there, I trained for it. And you train and you think it's going to be like that. But nah, I got to the fight. Everything was good. And then in the back, got wrapped up. I'm nervous, but I'm like, it's nerves. I could deal with a competition nerves. But then you walking out and they felt different. I was like, oh, it's different. There's people in here. They different. And then I walked in, and then I got in that cage, and they locked the door, and I was like, yo, I'm in the cage. Fight. And I'm in here naked. I had just the shorts on, and you don't know how naked you really are because you train. You got shirt on, you got shorts, you might have compression pants on. You got big gloves on, you got shin pads, you got headgear, certain things. You don't realize when you get in the fight, I was like, yo, I'm naked in here. I ain't got no shirt on. I just got these tights on, and I just got the 4-ounce gloves. That's it. No shin pads, nothing. And I remember I felt so naked and scared. And then we moving. You got game face on. I tried to fake the funk. I'm moving. And I got hit the first time. Boom. I'm like, oh no, it's real. It's real. And at that moment, I had to let my competitiveness and the competitive juices take over. And I was able to come away with the TKO in the second round. After that, I was hooked. I was addicted.
Slept him in the second round, first match.
Hey, look, I know my dog Mark running low on energy, but I want to know before you go into a fight, is there like a proper meal you need? Like, what gets you to that? Like, if it's that last meal before a fight night, what you push?
After them weigh-ins, after you done made
after the weigh-ins, after the weigh-ins.
After the weigh-ins, you got to make sure the nutrition is proper because as we cut weight, I'm one of the guys who cut weight because I'm the perfect size for a welterweight. So I cut weight, I cut the right amount of weight, and after you got to replenish with the fluids. It takes time to be able to eat. You can't just be. Everybody thinks you just after I make weight, I'm eating everything. Nah.
Man, so you don't mash out. It's just like I'm focused in on. I'm laser in.
It takes time for you to get the adequate amount of fluids in you. Certain times, and they, my team, they've got it down to a science to where you got to drink this type of recovery drinks. 30 minutes in to an hour in to 90 minutes in to certain times, then you start introducing certain foods, carbohydrates and stuff like that, and sweets, and salt, and that whole day until I think the nighttime, that night meal is really the meal that's for me that I can eat. And usually it's pasta with red sauce, nothing too heavy, a lot of carbs because I'm the type of fighter who excel with a lot of carbs. And so that's it. Fight day, you can't really eat nothing but the breakfast. You're nervous, because your body knows it's in danger. So you're nervous all day. So after, you eat that breakfast, your stomach, you can't eat nothing.
But y'all don't fight like you a main, like you know what I'm saying? You top car. You don't get out there till 9 p.m.
I don't get
midnight.
I fought in Jacksonville. I didn't get out till 12:30.
Midnight, bro.
Hey, yeah, you different. Because big fella, I pack a lunch to eat at halftime. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, boy, be hungry.
You know, main card ain't starting until 10 Eastern. Main event, unless people getting slept, which people were getting slept that way, he still didn't get out there till 12:30.
Look, that's why I say 9-10, because normally if we used to catch them in the Vegas fight, or you know what I'm saying, we on the West Coast. Yeah. East Coast, you're right. It'd be hella late.
Yeah. So yeah, if you basically you can't really eat nothing. You just got to try to keep the fluids up, but it's from your body knows it's in danger. It's about to be in danger, so it won't really take that much food in.
Second round KO, first fight. When you go to the UFC, bro? What's that?
Yeah, so after that first fight, I was hooked, kept working, and I didn't get my shot to really sign till 2015. I ended up having to do the reality show that I said I didn't want to do. I did it in 2015, which was good for me. I did it, I got through it, and I ended up winning the finale, winning the show, and I got signed in 2015. My fight was July 12th, 2015. And after that, I didn't look back.
Yo, saying it ain't even been like that. It's been like that.
Yeah.
I just stayed focused on the goal. Yeah, I stayed focused on the goal because when I got into the sport, I said I wanted to be the world champion, and I just took it one fight at a time. The next thing you know, I got the call. In March 2nd, 2019, you're gonna be fighting for the world title. And that was a moment that mentally I prepared for so many times in my head that I knew when I got that call, I was going to be world champion.
I've been telling fools, man, everybody in there was talking about Tyron Woodley. I'm like, and that's my dog. I fool with T Wood. I'm a T Wood fan. And I was proud. I was happy as heck when he was knocking people out, slumping people. I thought he was never going to be beat, right? And then my dog, Oos, had this title shot. Everybody in that thing. I'm telling them, Cam was with me and a whole bunch of other people. I said, they talking about Tyron Woodley. I'm like, listen, he ain't going to make it tonight. I said, I don't know what y'all talking about, but he ain't gonna make it tonight. I know this my blood brother. You feel me? He been waiting for this. And you just ever since that night, bro, they're
showing out since.
Yep. You tell him, Cam, because even you.
I don't want to talk about it because look, I was like Ty Woodley unstoppable. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. My dog Oz came in there, mashed my buddy. He's like, mentally speaking, confidence is everything in a lot of different sports. Confidence got shattered that night.
He was he was stomping feet. I'm like,
hey, Jazz was working, the wrestler was working. I was like, he's getting beaten on all faces.
He in the clinch.
You know what I mean? I sound like big DC. I was like,
I knew it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I knew it, man. I knew it. It's just one of those things that the moment when it's gonna happen, and that was my moment. And I had to take ownership, and I went out there, became the champion, and after becoming the champion, I just wanted to improve ever since.
And how many title defenses we have right now?
I think we have 4 right now.
4 title defenses. And the most recent one was
locked
beautiful.
in every time. Boy,
I was there, witnessed it in Jacksonville.
Hey, I might have lost a little bit of money in 2015, but you'd have made up for it so much. In fact, it was really my fault. I wasn't aware, and then I became aware.
Don't worry. He did that to 50,000. I don't know how many was in Jacksonville. He did that to 20,000 people in Jacksonville. Everybody in there hating. I'm in there like, y'all got me messed up. We really out here like that.
How was it
bruh,
when the shot landed? How was it?
You could hear a rat piss on cotton in that mug. It was so quiet. Except for me.
Except for me,
Patty Cuss, my wifey, Seppi, we was in that thing like, well, I told y'all. Y'all got it messed up. Y'all got the game twisted. That's the champ, man. That's the champ right there. Yeah, so.
Yeah. One of my best moments. And, I worked hard for that one. And when it happened, it was like, wow, surreal because they was hating
big time.
Because he
Miami boy.
Florida,
so they was hating like that. Look, I'm in Florida. I'm at a old teammate house, Mom Bushrow's house, watching a fight. And he had a couple Florida cats over there. They talking about, what it is in Florida all day. But in that fight, they was just looking like.
Bro, I'm telling you, the whole stadium.
What about that Dogecoin?
Dogecoin. Let's start talking crypto. ETH.
Exactly. What you got on that Bitcoin situation?
What your BTC shares looking like? No, bro. But yeah, the whole stadium was hating. And then, because like the first round, you was controlling it, but you know, he might have had a couple, maybe something. You were blocking everything, but everybody's like, oh, I'm like, shut up, he ain't even touching him. You know what I mean? So after the first round, I'm like, that's one for the champ. Colby Covington right there. Yeah, I'm like, that's one for the champ. You know what I mean? That's one for the champ. And still, I said, hey, it's only gonna get worse. Came out second round. Hit him with a jab. He knocked his hands down and just walked through it. Young boy was sleep on the lats and the shoulder blades before he even hit the ground. I got up. I was almost in the ring. I was so turned, my dog. I was lit. You had the whole fan with you. Pops was watching you, man. Baby girl was there, man. I had my fan with me, bro.
Oh, so that was the first fight Pops had been to, huh?
Yeah, that was the first fight Pops had been to. Pops was incarcerated for 10 years. And that was the first one since he'd been back home. So it was extra special, but I had to make sure it was extra special, and I had to make sure it ended in a special way.
Man.
So I went out there and served him, because the whole week he was talking about he wanted violence. And I said, all right, you want that violence?
Yeah. I woke up for violence.
Yeah.
I woke up with violence on my mind.
I came out there for violence, and we served it.
Yes, sir.
And one of my special ones to this date, and I'm happy. I'm glad you was able to be there to see that and witness that one. I'm blessed to be in the position I am now.
No, I'm just happy because I was there when you got the title, and when I last time I came, you just declared the mug, retained the title. I'm like, I know I'm good for the fights. I don't know about y'all. I'm good for the fights. We 2-0 when I'm there. You know what I mean? So it's all love. But I'm a big gamer. I like the Call of Duty. I do fool with the UFC. I do love the UFC. I got to get back on it now that my dog's the champ. But your ranking, dog. 4.5 out of 5 for the best pound for pound fighter. It better not be no 5 out of 5s. EA Sports.
I'll say better not see no 4.9, no 4.75.
It better be the highest rated, or I'm a just boycott. All right. But we got an overall 4.5 out of 5. Striking 4. You gotta upgrade that. You just seen him walk through a man's face.
I'll say, who we gotta call? We gotta call Chad Ochocinco for that? No, he's
the man adjuster.
We need somebody to go ahead and correct the striking.
Nah, but that's the. I don't think they updated them yet.
They can't have. It's not possible. We got striking at 4, grapple at 4.5, which that is no way impossible. If you've seen the curb stomps and shoulder stomps that he done put on people, and health 5. Health 5.
And
I argue the health because I know him personally. And he done been whooping y'all tail with stuff bothering him. I talked to him before every fight. Man, like, I done
so really that 5 is a 5.5. He out the frame.
No, the 5 is like a 3.5, but he be looking like 5. Like, I talked to him. I'm like, yo, how you feeling? The fight coming up, he's like, yeah, man, I broke my hand, man, sparring the other day, but I'm good, man. That's okay. I'm good. I don't know when that was, but it happened sometime. He's like, yeah, my knee is.
This last fight, I broke this finger right here. I broke the bone in that straight through, separated it 2 weeks before the fight. But those got to be the older ratings because now recently we.
Yo, stop playing with him. 5 of them things.
We 5-star now. We out here.
Star action.
Y'all need to update the status.
Yo,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Gold plate Danny. That might be the only chain I ever rock. I ever catch one of them 99 daddies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you got?
Yeah.
Big chain status.
Right, we almost done, man. I need to know. Since you a dancer and a vibe king, what's on the fight day playlist? Because I know you be having Lil Mama in the back seat. You know what I mean? Miss Pretty, my baby girl, she be back there jigging. But what's on the fight day playlist, man? Because I know you be jigging.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Like, and that's the thing is, I'm big on energy. So fight day, it range. I got a pretty wide range of music. I might be into jazz, depending on how crazy my mind is running. And some days I might be into the Latin Spanish music.
That's Soca, that boy out there.
Or the Afro. I'm heavy on the Afro beat. Nigeria is the place for Afro beat. So I'm heavy on it. So it just depends on my mood. I might be.
That boy be having the techno
real.
vibes. Hey, he be in the car. He be in the car vibing. I be listening to the tunes, bro. He always be vibed out.
So I might be feeling that, or little baby. I might need that little baby money bag, yo. If I'm feeling, real rough, if I'm feeling gritty and grimy, I'm like, all right,
feeling like running barefoot, like back in that when you was 8. You know what I mean?
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going back home.
Yeah. Real nasty, trap like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I might be feeling real hood and trap with it, but. It varies, but I'm a big energy guy and I just let my energy take me to a comfortable place.
Well, man, we blessed, man. We impressed by the best. I got my dog, my brother from another, Cam Jordan with me. That's my dog, man. What's understood ain't got to be explained, so I ain't even going to try. You know what I'm talking about? But then I got my brother. What's also understood ain't need to be explained, but I'm gonna explain because that's what I'm gonna do to y'all. I'm gonna explain. He the pound for pound best fighter in the world, champion of the world, not just the city. You know what I mean? The world, champion of the world. Then defended this title, gonna keep defending this title. Hey, you can hate, you can debate with whoever you want. Debate your mama, but my dog's the pound for pound best doing it. You got something to say, come see me. I really am about that, especially about my peoples, especially about my folks. And that's on the trust. And that's on the trust on the levels. And that's the big trust levels with my dog Kamaru Usman blessing us with his presence on the pod. So we appreciate it. We love you.
Appreciate
hold it
y'all, my
down
brother.
and keep training and keep elevating and keep doing your thing, my dog. We love you. And gonna stay. And still
gonna stay that way.
And gonna stay.
Appreciate y'all, my dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. Love you, man.
Facts, like fighters fight, certain fighters, they're legit fighters. They're willing to step in there, but it's levels to this.
Yeah. It's levels. And that's Mr. Levels. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Kush, that's Mr. Levels. Cam is Mr. Levels. Fact. He started it. He Mr. You know what I mean?
Level it up. You know what I'm saying?